first-year head coaches meet. Mack Brown in Carolina have won just once since he last coached the Tar Heels here at Grant Field. Meanwhile, Jeff Collins' team, they're trying to get an ACC win here today at Grant Field. And the Tar Heels are going to get the ball first. Georgia Tech won the toss and elected to defer. So Michael Carter, Carolina's starting running back, is deep. And Carter will field at the 4. Made a man miss. Knocked out of bounds beyond the 30-yard line. And that means we get a look at one of the most impressive freshmen in the ACC. Here is Sam Howell from Indian Trail, North Carolina.
Has absolutely taken the conference by storm since he first entered the lineup against South Carolina, starting from day one. It's been absolutely fantastic. And last week against Clemson, 144 yards, as you saw, but really operated this offense nicely. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC this year.
Carter's the back. He'll get the carry. Tries to work to the perimeter. Got tripped up. David Curry was firing through. The linebacker, number 6. And also Kelton Dawson, who wears number 90 today, along with Christian Campbell.
See David Curry just going underneath the block, spilling him outside. Jackets able to rally and tackle a very good running back, Michael Carter, in the backfield.
It was Javonte Williams who now gets the carry on second down. So Carolina, who comes in, the Tar Heels 8th in the ACC, 72nd nationally at 154 yards, Roddy, trying to run it against the team who is 14th in the ACC and 128th nationally in Georgia Tech.
Well, this is where Carolina doesn't want to be, though. Carolina has not been very good on third downs this year. They're 12th in the conference at 30%.
Howell's first throw of the day. Crossing route, and that's the tight end, Garrett Walston. Just his second catch of the year of 13 yards and a first down.
Georgia Tech is going to play a lot of man-to-man coverage today. This time they get the tight end Walston on the safety Wanye Thomas, able to complete it for a big third down conversion.
Javonte Williams on the quick snap out to midfield before Curry makes the play. David Curry, the redshirt junior, Buford, Georgia, has the most tackles in 4 games for Georgia Tech with 29 since 2011, when Julian Burnett had 36 in the first 4 games for a Paul Johnson team. And the Tar Heels have an injury, and it's Bo Corrales, the wide receiver, who had 3 catches last week, including a touchdown against Clemson, who's shaken up. Corrales is the 3rd leading receiver on this team with 13 catches. So they're out to 10 to the big wide out. And a 2nd and short coming up.
See right there. Ooh, just gets rolled up a little bit on that left leg. I hope he's all right. Bo Corrales, you said it, he is the big wide receiver of this group. 6'4", 210 pounds. Gives him a little more physical presence there on the outside. See how serious this ends up being.
Well, more often than not, we've seen some friendly fire stuff this fall already in the first 5 weeks of our schedule. Corrales is walking off, and that's an excellent sign for Carolina.
It certainly is.
So 2nd down coming up. It does slow the Tar Heels down, who were quick snapping there after the first down play to Walston.
It's an offense that's going to vary their tempos, but by the nature of Phil Longo's offense, they definitely want to go fast, and that's what they're doing here against Georgia Tech.
Juggle the snap, hands to Carter. First down to the 44 of Georgia Tech goes Michael Carter, junior from Navarre, Florida. And Phil Longo, who you mentioned, Roddy, he's got a little bit of everything at the running back spot with Michael Carter, Javonte Williams, and even the Ohio State transfer senior Antonio Williams. Here's Howell. He's going to take the deep shot downfield and drop, and that's Newsome. Daz Newsome had gotten into the secondary for Georgia Tech.
This secondary has been really good for Georgia Tech so far this season. Howell puts this absolutely on the money. Newsome just not able to come up with it. And then a huge play for Georgia Tech as Christian Campbell and Tariq Carpenter were trailing on the play.
So 2nd in the full 10 for Howell. Opening drive of the ball game belongs to the visiting Tar Heels. Carter got hit by Charlie Thomas on the button at the 42. Charlie Thomas, 5 tackles behind the line, 28, trailing just 1 behind the leader, David Curry. He's been really impressive for this defense.
He has. He's been a disruptor on this defense. This North Carolina offense was able to convert a 3rd and long earlier by going to the tight end. No tight end on the field yet. But to the bottom of the screen, you got one-on-one with De'Ami Brown and Trey Swilling. They're down here with 1 safety over the top. It looks like it's going to be man-to-man. We'll see if Sam Howell decides to go there.
Pressure coming. Intercepted. Taken away by Antoine Owens. Sam Howell throws just his 3rd interception of the year and a big turnover early for Georgia Tech.
Well, Antoine Owens is a defensive end. So Georgia Tech brings pressure. Owens there on the left side of your screen drops back. Howell doesn't account for the defensive end dropping right underneath the route, throws it right to him. How about the hands for the big fella, though? Being able to rein it in and getting a big turnover for Georgia Tech early in this football game.
3rd interception of the year for Howell. And now here is James Graham out of Fitzgerald, Georgia, making the start for Jeff Collins. And a quick throw on 1st down. And this is Adonicus Sanders. 2 catches, 19 yards. A week ago at Philadelphia, Miles Dorn makes the tackle.
Well, James Graham ends up being the guy after a few weeks of Georgia Tech shuffling through quarterbacks, trying to figure out who it was going to be. Last week against Temple, really showed some flashes of being a really good quarterback. Just inconsistency has prevented him from taking it to this point. Dave Patno really feels like with him in the game, the ability to throw the ball is going to be there, as well as being able to run, because he is a guy who's recruited to play in the triple option.
Tamon Fox makes the hit on Jordan Mason, the ball carrier, so 2nd down coming up. So an early turnover by Howell and the Tar Heels. Now gives Georgia Tech a plus territory start. The throw to Sanders. And while Phil Longo talks to his quarterback, James Graham gets his 3rd snap as a starter. And he will keep it. And run right into the middle. And 55 is Jason Strobridge. Get ready to see this guy today.
We are going to talk about him a lot because he is an NFL talent on the left side of your screen. Excuse me, the right side of your screen. He's able to fend off the block. This is a good defensive front. Aaron Crawford in the middle is hard to move, but Strobridge is the guy who NFL scouts are salivating over.
2 by 2 for Georgia Tech on 3rd and long, and I think an early start might be the call here.
False start. Offense number 70. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Jeff Flanagan's the referee today from Hickson, Tennessee, and Jared Southers guilty of the false start.
With the struggles that Georgia Tech has had on their offensive line this year, and a lot of that comes from guys that were blocking in a triple option scheme last year. On 3rd down, expect them to widen the box, split out the wide receivers really far, and try to make North Carolina declare the blitzes to really try and help out their offensive line up front.
Jemias Griffin, the freshman from Rome, Georgia, in the backfield with Graham on 3rd and long. Graham cuts it loose, looking deep, man there, and offline for Malachi Carter. Carter had gotten behind Greg Ross, the Tar Heel corner.
Let's look at Malachi Carter, who runs a great route here on the outside. Just a little double move, something that North Carolina has done a lot this season. And these are the layups that Georgia Tech quarterbacks need to hit. No matter who's in at quarterback, it's James Graham today. You got to be able to get it to your receiver. Not only that, keep it in the field of play. That ball was thrown out of bounds. Dave Patno with a great play call, not able to execute from his quarterback, James Graham.
So the interception goes by the boards, Roddy. Here's Presley Harvin to punt for the 1st time. He pinned Temple deep last week that led to the safety, and he'll just try and flip the soft wedge in here, but it will skip into the end zone and bring us to our 1st timeout. Each team's had it once. Carolina's got a turn. Bo Corrales back in the ballgame at wide receiver for Carolina. Here's Michael Carter, and he can't get started. Bruce Jordan Swilling, number 12 in the Cape Day jerseys. The gray onyx for Georgia Tech today makes the stop.
What Georgia Tech's going to counter within this run game is movement. They're going to send guys, they're going to slant the front to try and use their quickness against this ginormous North Carolina offensive line.
Second and long, taking the shot, looking downfield, and incomplete to De'Ami Brown. And that's two that's gone through the wickets here, Roddy.
Sam Howell's been on the money with 2 deep balls now. One to Daz Newsome, this one to De'Ami Brown. And it looks like they're having a tough time tracking him. And that's an easy ball coming over the outside shoulder that receivers practice all the time. Here's another third and long, third one of the day. The last time Sam Howell threw the interception. See what happens now. Georgia Tech's got a 3-safety look. And they've got caught with too many men on the field, Wes.
And the throw caught here. Newsome in front of the Georgia Tech bench. It'll be close, and it is a first down at the 31. Wanye Thomas trailing Daz Newsome, who had a brother play at Virginia Tech. His dad, Myron Newsome, Bud Foster, told us a couple weeks ago, one of his all-time favorite players for the Hokies. Here's Carter spinning and driving across the 35. It'll be a pickup of right at 6 on first down.
And Wes, on that third down that North Carolina just converted, Georgia Tech had some confusion running guys on and off the field. Because Wanye Thomas was running off, I thought they got caught with 12, but it actually looks like because it wasn't called, they ended up with 10 on the play. So Georgia Tech with an early communication mistake that led to a big conversion.
Here's Carter again, and it'll be third and short as he stopped right before the 40 by David Curry. Georgia Tech's leading tackler's already been in the mix more than once here early. So now here is third down, and Javonte Williams, part of that triumvirate at running back for the Tar Heels, comes into the lineup. And look at this, Sam Howell's coming here to the boundary, huh?
Yep, he's down here to the bottom of your screen. Wildcat in the backfield with Javonte Williams taking the snap.
Snap to Williams, and he will get the first down. Well, they run Vargas, the tight end, on a little counter buck, Roddy.
Like that play call.
It's right up your alley, isn't it?
Yeah, give me a lead blocker out in front. Give a little jab step to the right, come back to the left. Big tight end. Vargas throwing a nice block.
I want to measure this. It's crossed the 41. And from our vantage point here on the west side at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Grant Field, looks to be a first down, but Jeff Flanagan's crew wants to make sure.
Georgia Tech defense is going to have its hands full. When we showed the size differential of the offensive line, this offensive line that actually handled themselves pretty well in the run game last week against Clemson, 125 yards rushing, as North Carolina did in fact get the first down. And meeting with Mack Brown yesterday was a real treat. You know, you and I and Eric sat down with him, asked him, Coach, are you having a good time? He said, hey, you know, the losing's never fun, but you can tell that guy still loves ball.
Yep. I think he also readily admits he learned a lot in his 5 years working at ESPN and enjoyed it. Even our producer, Chris Damiani, spent some time with the coach during his tenure, and it was fun to watch those guys renew ties as well. And Sam Howell from the quarterback spot on the keeper for about 5 here, 2nd and 5 coming up. The energy that Mack Brown has, native of Cookeville, Tennessee, 68 years of age. By the way, a win today, he will tie Dick Crum as Carolina's all-time winningest football coach with 72 victories. Howell shoots it across the middle. The catch made in stride. Toe Groves. A Tar Heel first down to the Georgia Tech 33-yard line ahead of a Johnny Kerr's tackle.
Once again, Georgia Tech in man coverage, and it's going to be tough for them to keep up with these UNC receivers. This is the quickest bunch that they have seen. I use this term endearingly. This is a very finesse group of receivers. Not a lot of big physical guys, but a ton of speed.
Howell to play fake again. Taking the deep shot for Bo Corrales, who goes up and can't come down with it. He was in coverage with Zamari Walton.
Well, this part of it is actually playing right into Georgia Tech's hands. This is what they're really good at defensive back. They're big, they're long. Zamari Walton, 6'3", 180 with length. Even though Bo Corrales is 6'4", that's a matchup that Georgia Tech will take. The advantage that North Carolina has is going to be in the speed portion of it because their receivers can absolutely fly.
And we got movement, I believe, on the Tar Heels here.
I'll start. Offense number 63. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And the penalty on Montelis. And there's the secondary. Roddy, it is the strength of the football team on the defensive side for sure.
And they are big, which is why they've held up against some of the best receiving corps in the country.
10th play of the drive, and that's Brown. And it will be 3rd down out at about the 27. 5 shy of the 1st down, or in the neighborhood. Tariq Carpenter in the coverage for Georgia Tech, and the Tar Heels ready to ride. Michael Carter, right side, hit the cutback, 1st down and more. Carter to the 15. Rides the left guard Montelis and hit the brake, and then right back on the gas.
North Carolina has been incredible this year in the red zone. A perfect 17 for 17 scoring touchdowns down there.
Yep, one of 8 teams, Eric, coming into play in FBS football this week who is perfect in red zone trips. And Howell's going to throw this out of bounds over the head of Anton Green, who is the closest Tar Heel in the neighborhood.
We asked defensive coordinator Andrew Thacker for Georgia Tech about that yesterday, about their red zone success. He said a lot of it's because of their offensive line. They're so big and they go with such tempo on offense. By the time you get down to the red zone, you're worn down and they just lean on your defense. Expect run here and see if that comes to fruition with them being able to move Georgia Tech off the ball.
2-by-2 look. Howell shoots it inside and beyond the reach of Groves. So now 3rd in the full 10 coming up.
That's where North Carolina has made a lot of their money, as Eric said. That's a run-pass option. Sam Howell's got the option to hand the ball off, but decides to go over the top. Another 3rd and 10. On the outsides, if you get one-on-one to the top of your screen, that may be a matchup that Sam Howell looks at. Georgia Tech looks like it's bringing pressure, but when you get these check with me's, sometimes if you check, they check. That's the game that you're going to play. Toe Groves, Rontavious Groves just moved into the slot right here. He just switched. We'll see if they go to him.
Howell looking for the corner, and Groves can't turn around and reach back against the Johnny Kerr. And that will mean Noah Ruggles will try a field goal, his longest of the year, 49 in Winston-Salem, as Howell and the Tar Heels misfire. Sam Howell, 5 of his first 12 now, Roddy, for 66 yards.
Yeah, not all of that's on him. You had 2 long drop passes by receivers early. But Georgia Tech's going to do a really good job during this game of making Sam Howell work on these balls down the field. That was pretty good coverage where there was a small window to throw it in. Howell not able to complete it.
Field goal try for Ruggles, who on the year 7 for 10. Try is away. And the Tar Heels have scored first here in Atlanta.
The thing that he really said is you like Sam Howell's competitiveness, wanting to have the ball in his hands. That's the reason we were in that game in the first place, because that guy is an absolute gamer.
Yep. The competitive mindset of Sam Howell is, I think, the reason, Roddy, he won the job.
Absolutely.
End over in kick. Tobias Oliver will run it out. First time he's touched it today. And Oliver will be tracked down shy of the 20 by Chaz Surratt. And a reminder, of course, ACC Network primetime football tonight, 8 o'clock. They'll be at the fabled Horseshoe on the West Campus at Duke, Roddy, for Pitt and the Blue Devils. They scored 99 points last year in their meeting at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh.
What does Pat call that? Wallace Wade Outdoor Stadium?
Wallace Wade Outdoor Stadium to my man Packer.
Right next to Cameron Indoor.
That's it. Jordan Mason is the running back for James Graham. Graham trying to run and throw downfield incomplete. Looking on the backside for Amarian Brown. Boy, Carolina had great pursuit with Jeremiah Gimmel, who's come on here for the Tar Heels. 2nd down and 10 at the 19 for Georgia Tech's 2nd offensive possession. The Jackets, no offensive points last week in the loss at Temple. But Graham, the young man from Fitzgerald, Georgia, getting the start today and has great speed. Here is Graham sliding down, takes a shot. Partisans here at Grant Field wanted a flag on the Don Chapman hit.
Don Chapman, the true freshman, gets the start, and that one's borderline. After seeing the replay here in the stadium, obviously the Partisans, as you said, are a little upset. It's borderline, but I think a good call by the referees leaving the flags on the pocket.
Here's Graham on the snap. Going to take the shot downfield and off the hands of Malachi Carter. Twice he's tried to hit Carter. Carolina got in the backfield. Aaron Crawford really hit Graham when he cut it loose.
But you like James Graham's willingness to stand in the pocket. Sometimes you have to let these plays develop. And honestly, Malachi Carter should come up with that one. I mean, your quarterback, it's a little out there, but you got to get two hands on it and come down with that one. You struggled at the quarterback position. You're an underdog in the game. Georgia Tech's going to want that one back because they had a big opportunity there.
Very quickly, 2nd and 10, and here is a quick throw to the tight end, Devaney. And that will be a first down.
I really like what I've seen from a rhythm standpoint from James Graham in this drive, even on the misplay, delivering the ball with confidence.
And they're getting the ball out of his hand quick too, Roddy.
Yep.
6 in the box. Jordan Mason, a couple of yards, falling toward the 47. Georgia Tech averaging 163 yards on the ground. Carolina surrendering the exact same number. Here's the Tar Heel defense coordinated by Jay Bateman. 2nd and 7. Crawford got an early start, but backed up. No flag.
The ball wasn't snapped. None of the linemen reacted.
The center's got to snap it, or one of the guys got to come off the ball and take advantage of that free 5 yards.
Here's the give. Mason going nowhere. Chaz Surratt. Now, I want to tell you, this is one of the best stories in college football right here with Chaz Surratt.
It absolutely is, Wes, but I mean, look at this turn of events for Georgia Tech. They should have had 2nd and short because Aaron Crawford's basically in the backfield without touching one of the offensive linemen. So if they move, you get 2nd and short. You were actually, that doesn't happen. You run the play, and now you're in a 3rd and 9. That's just one of the little coaching things that's going to develop over for Georgia Tech. But here's what Eric was talking about with the big splits.
3rd and 9, and Tamon Fox had Graham wrapped up. He's able to scoot out of it for a couple of yards. But Harbin will have to come on and punt here. Heck of a pursuit from Fox, the junior from here in the Atlanta area.
Aaron Crawford once again kind of getting up the middle. Tamon Fox coming off the edge. Jay Bateman absolutely loves that kid. Said he is real life smart. A guy that knows multiple positions, was playing inside. They moved him outside, and he has flourished.
Punt's angled to the far side and skips out of bounds off the foot of Harbin near the 15. So the Tar Heels lead 3-0 when we continue from Atlanta. Carolina 3-0. Native of Conyers, graduate of Western Carolina, worked here as a GA for 3 years under George O'Leary, the former Yellow Jacket coach here at the ball game today. Came back as a assistant coach and recruiting coordinator for Chan Gailey. Recruited a guy from Chamblee, a running back named Roddy Jones. And here is Michael Carter getting it cranked up on the Tar Heel first snap from inside the 14-yard line. Collins has brought a ton of energy back to this job. But I thought the comments yesterday about building day to day and building his team as much as taking into account who they're playing was fascinating.
Yeah, they know they have some pieces that don't necessarily fit what they would want to do ideally, but the biggest thing is getting better. Them getting better every week is see Michael Carter getting the first down. He talked about the nameless, faceless opponent. And ultimately, they have to get better at defending schemes and defending styles, not necessarily talking about Sam Howell and Michael Carter and De'Ami Brown. Georgia Tech has to focus their efforts inwards, and they've certainly done that.
1st and 10 after the Carter run. Howell, quick throw to the perimeter. Here's Corrales. A stiff arm, and then banged out of bounds by Kelton Dawson, who is wearing 90 today in honor of the late Brandon Adams.
Wes, you call this a stiff arm. I call this disrespectful. That's one of those, no, get off me. Oh, man.
And that's Samari Walton now. That's not some guy just showed up.
Correct. That's a good player out there.
Javonte Williams, another Tar Heel first down. I am fascinated with Carter, Javonte Williams, and maybe the most physical back they've got, Antonio Williams.
They complement each other really well. And we'll see a ton of them today, as North Carolina's been pretty good running the football.
And Javonte Williams again pours through to beyond the 47-yard line, a run of 10, and another Carolina first down. Williams again trying to slide to the edge. David Curry polishes off the good work of Jalen King, a redshirt freshman from just outside of Nashville, who got the first lick on the Tar Heel back.
What this run game has allowed North Carolina to do, though, is operate at the tempo that they want to, make a couple of substitutions here and slow it down, but really good rhythm for this offense.
And on the perimeter, Carter. And we'll leave them about 6 for the first down, perhaps. Knocked out by Walton.
I think this is 4-down territory for Mac Brown. This Georgia Tech offense has struggled a little bit. So why not go ahead and go for it if they don't get it here? They found success on third downs, going to the tight ends and to the slots. So watch these two guys, the two slots to the top and bottom of the screen.
Quick throw, caught on the backside, Toe Groves. And a first down at the 38. That's a big-time ball from Sam Howell.
It's a fantastic throw. Just an out by Toe Groves, right on the sideline. Got a defender coming from the inside. That's why Sam Howell's a starting quarterback at UNC, because to go with the competitiveness, he's got the arm to be able to complete those passes.
De'Ami Brown deep in the pattern and dropped it. He and Trey Swilling were stride for stride. The ball maybe caught up in the wind a little bit, and Brown came back for it and couldn't hang on.
Second time he's had a shot at one deep and has not been able to bring it in. Does a good job of adjusting to the football, pushing Trey Swilling by, and it just goes right through the wickets. That's 3 deep balls now. 2 to Brown and one to Daz Newsome as well. And North Carolina hadn't been able to come down.
Howell is 8 of 16 for 86 yards, and he will keep it this time and maybe get a yard, maybe not. Good pursuit by Curry and the Jackets. And that will get us to the end of the first. Carroll 62 rushing yards. They know they're 100 yards behind what Georgia Tech allows in the game. No surprise there. But this is the 11th play of the drive in a 3-0 game. Third and the full 10. Howell drops it off. There's a flag thrown as Daz Newsome skips out of bounds at the 17. Let's see what happens on the marker.
I think they're going to get offensive pass interference against North Carolina. You had Toe Groves kind of picking the man that was covering Daz Newsome, freeing him up in the flat. We'll see what they end up going with.
Jeff Flanagan.
Offensive pass interference, number 4. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Third down.
Eric, Roddy called that like he did it in his career.
Well, here's where the pick is going to come from. and Wes, hey, that's something that you don't necessarily talk about there. But Toe Groves picks off the Georgia Tech player, frees up Daz Newsome. Everybody does it. You want one of those little smoke screens there where you get close to them, make them slow down to free up your receivers. But when you make contact, it's not going to happen like that.
Howell back in the pocket and in trouble. Eludes the pressure. Look at this. Corrales can't come up with it. Sam Howell avoided sacks, what, 3 times?
Wes, if you turn on the highlight video from Sun Valley High School in Indian Trail, North Carolina, that's what you're going to see from Sam Howell, because the offensive line there was not nearly as good as the one that he had here. Avoided, you said it, 3 sacks, and delivers a ball just off the mark for Bo Corrales, who's laying out for it. That was a highlight play that goes down as an incomplete pass in the scoreboard.
Josh Blancato to wait on the punt. And this is Ben Kiernan, young man from Ireland, dumping it to Blancato, and then he got hit right around the 12-yard line. In the studio today, Tobias Oliver, the quarterback for Georgia Tech. And Oliver around the 15 to the 16. It'll be a gain of 4. Jay Bateman, the North Carolina defensive coordinator, outlined what he thought if they saw Tobias Oliver, what it would be, Roddy, and pretty much on point here.
And Georgia Tech had not gotten the ball in his hands yet, other than the kickoff return. And they said, yeah, Tobias Oliver may not be starting for us at quarterback, but he is an elite athlete. We got to find a way to get the ball in his hands. He's split out now at receiver, but obviously direct snap is one way to get him involved.
So Graham comes back to quarterback, and Oliver's at the bottom of the screen as one of the wide receivers. And Jerry Howard, junior from Rock Hill, South Carolina, is in as the running back. Here comes Graham. There's a pitch, and Fox is right there to sling Howard out of bounds. The speed option to the boundary for Jerry Howard. And it's 3rd down.
Tobias Oliver stays in the game. He's going to be the receiver to the bottom again, as you said, Wes. They bring in Josh Blancato, keep in the tight end Tyler Davis. Now they're going to go tight. Oliver right here, one of the dynamic playmakers at the bottom.
Graham looking toward Oliver, throws instead for Davis. Did he get enough for the first down? He did to the 23, ahead of Miles Dorn. Well done on the throw from Graham.
I really like the call. Oliver gets out in the flat quick to make it a clean read for James Graham, who has delivered the ball with confidence. Delivers a strike to Tyler Davis. And I like the fact that these tight ends have been involved early in this game.
Oliver now back to the quarterback spot. That's Nathan Cottrell in motion. He'll get it. Nope, in fact, Oliver keeps it. And Alan Cater hits him. Alan Cater was lost after 6 games last year with a torn ACL, and he's come in, contributed 8 tackles, couple of hurries, couple behind the line. In fact, had a 3rd one there.
When we talked to Jay Bateman yesterday, the defensive coordinator for North Carolina, he said he was more concerned about the Georgia Tech offense with Oliver at QB and his ability to run the ball. But Georgia Tech wants to move on from the option and the read option. They want to be more of a traditional throwing team.
Oliver now looking to throw. Cuts it back, headed to the far side, and he will cross the 25 and up to about the 29 before Dominic Ross finally makes a heck of an open field tackle here.
Well, this is why Jay Bateman was worried, just like Eric said, because they've got this play defended well. But you have to play the second play with Tobias Oliver, the scramble. They end up rallying for a short gain, but that's a play that a normal quarterback throws out of bounds or tries to run to the play side, and you tackle him for a short gain or maybe for no gain, but Tobias Oliver able to get a little bit out of it.
See, Oliver's the team's rushing leader coming in, now 3rd and 3, and Georgia Tech just one of their first 3 today.
With James Graham back at quarterback.
Yep. Graham quick throw, caught going up the ceiling. Adonica Sanders' second big grab of this first half for the Jackets and a 1st down.
Matches his best game from a week ago against Temple. It's just a slant, one-on-one coverage. Graham delivers a good ball up high. Adonica Sanders, strong hands, bringing it down. That's a contested catch, and I tell you what, that's a way to endear yourself to a quarterback.
Yep.
Is by making catches when they're contested.
Jamias Griffin comes in as the running back. Fresh set of downs for Georgia Tech. Graham looks to throw again. Downfield, intercepted. Don Chapman, the freshman from San Diego, California, his first interception as a Tar Heel.
Yeah, true freshman gets the start because of the injury to Cameron Kelly. He's the safety in the middle of the field. James Graham had one of these last week as well, where he just doesn't account for the safety.
Scottish Rite Hospital, which is now part of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, which is being celebrated by Collins and his team today with the Cape Day jerseys.
It's come full circle.
Yeah.
I'd argue that those are pretty good seats, he would.
Yeah.
Good view up here. It's like the blimp view.
Here's Howell. Hands to Michael Carter on 1st down after the Don Chapman interception. What else have you learned up there?
So I'm up here with Jordan. Jordan, do they charge extra for the Jeff Collins tickets?
They don't. This is actually one of the cheaper sections for season ticket holders, and it's not a bad view, so I just keep sitting up here.
Do you envision yourself coaching from the sideline one day?
I ran the triple option in high school, so I think that's kind of faded away, so I don't see it anymore.
Oh, man. Wes, I'm sorry if that offended you.
No, all good. Long ball for Brown and overthrown. And a flag is thrown behind the play here on the incomplete ball. It might be a hold on Big Charlie Heck. Thanks to Jordan for the visit with Eric. By the way, is it hot up there, big fella?
Holding.
It's a little warm.
Offense number
If I didn't have a tie on, I'd be all right, probably.
Here's Charlie Heck, all 6'8", 315 of him.
You see big 67. Just gets his arm around the defensive lineman. Honestly, it'd have probably been okay if the guy didn't fall, but that's one of those indicators for referees that something was awry, and gets called for it.
Howell now after the penalty, inside route, and the catch made. And Emory Simmons, the freshman from Parkton, North Carolina. So now third and now fairly long. That's 7 yards. But they got some of it back. Phil Longo matching wits with Andrew Thacker.
Looks like they're going to get man-to-man again on third down for Georgia Tech.
Yep. Howell made the throw and a rolling catch of it by Newsome. Wow. Working against Tariq Carpenter. Want to have a look at this, Roddy?
Absolutely. Newsome right at the sticks, goes down under the football. Really good catch. Sets up a fourth down for North Carolina, leaving the offense on the field.
Jeff Flanagan wants to measure here. He had to get to the 42. The drive started at the 32 prior to the hold. And if he gets to the 42.
The ruling on the field was a completed catch. This play is under further review.
I got to tell you, I don't see anything there to take the catch away.
I did not either.
And he's at the 42-yard line, by the way.
Yep.
That's some kind of grab off the turf by Daz Newsome. Here's a look.
Well, that one's obstructed by the offensive lineman, so you're not going to get a reversal off of that. Again, you got to have evidence that the catch did not occur. His arms are under the ball. I actually think from the views that we've seen so far, it's going to be confirmed that it was indeed a catch. This one will give us a pretty good look as well. Arms definitely under the ball initially.
I'll tell you what, our director, Adam Bryant, and his crew got a phenomenal look at this. That's about as good as it's going to get on any play.
Absolutely.
And here's the credit to Newsome. Roddy, rather than catch and stay on the ground, he rolled through to show that he had the ball.
Absolutely.
In some ways, he kind of sold the back end of it.
Yep.
Now, the ruling on the field is a catch. And here's Jeff Flanagan.
After further review, it is a catch. We will take time out to measure for a first down.
Carolina's had some drops here in the first half. This will be a heck of a third down pickup if this is spotted as first down.
Especially after the big holding penalty that set him back. It was a really good completion on second down to make it a third and more manageable. And then this third down play, and I'm going to be honest with you, Wes. I got a lot of respect for the referees. That was a little bit of an unnecessary measurement right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 3 feet away from the sticks. They got it by half a ball length, but hey, better safe than sorry.
That's it. Yep. There we go. So a 3-0 ball game. You guys a little surprised at how maybe this ball game's just kind of wobbled back and forth a little bit in this first half?
North Carolina's honestly shot themselves in the foot a little bit. You had the offensive pass interference that stopped the drive, the interception that stopped the drive, and then a couple of drops on big plays that would have been touchdowns. So North Carolina a little sloppy in this first quarter.
Howell, Javonte Williams, and he gets 10 on first down, maybe 11.
To your point, Roddy, Phil Longo's recipe for success is run, quick pass, take the shots. And throughout this season, they have been great getting those big shots down the field, and today they just have not capitalized on them.
Howell on the keep. And he will slip down just inside the 45. Ran right through Kelton Dawson.
Sam Howell does a great job of getting on the ground. One of the concerns for Carolina is that Jace Ruder, the backup quarterback, is hurt. Vincent Amendola, the true freshman, is the backup quarterback. And there was a three-way quarterback competition in fall camp. He was not a part of it. So they're very concerned if Sam Howell were to go down.
Javonte Williams, a 13-yard run to the 31 before Carpenter gets him on the ground. Yeah, Phil Longo told us Vincent Amendola has 2.5 weeks of what he calls real reps. I'm sure they'd like to get him some reps in a game, but it will not come at the cost of high-level play of what they're in right now in the Coastal Division, battling Georgia Tech. And look at Javonte Williams just second and third efforting against a Johnny Kerr to about the 27.5-yard line.
Well, what North Carolina's been able to do is string together drives. They've run 40 plays so far in this game, and we're not even halfway through the second quarter, Wes.
Yep.
That is an unbelievable pace that they are setting. So this Georgia Tech defensive line and this linebacker crew, this entire defense really has just been on the field a ton here in the first half.
Jackets change their front here on Howell with 2nd and 7. Play fake by Howell. Middle of the field and off the ends of Togro's hands. Boy, Howell has got a pretty good arm here.
Well, this one, he's just a little off the mark, but this is for what I call layups. I mean, wide open receivers that would have been touchdowns that North Carolina's missed. 2 to Brown, 1 to Newsom, and now 1 to Groves. That for whatever reason, they have not been able to connect.
And on the season, generally, they have 29 plays this year, over 20 yards.
Howell. And the catch made, and that's Newsom at the 20 for another first down. I don't know how you guys thinking about this, but when Phil Longo was talking to us about the way the offensive pieces come together, how they talk about routes and packages and things like this, he's got to be talking about stuff like this, Roddy. Just run to the road, right?
It's a fantastic route. You have the option when you break that down to come back down the stem of the route, which Newsom did, to find green grass and get the completion.
That one is too hot to handle for Newsom and probably high and outside off the hand of Howell. Longo was fascinating to talk to about the installation of the offense takes 4 days. When he said that, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, the philosophy is you install the offense in pieces and parts. You install certain things. You get a weird formation with 4 players down to the bottom.
Howell picks out the wide open guy. It's Daz Newsom, touchdown, Carolina. 20-yard throw to Newsom. And for Daz Newsom, it's his 3rd touchdown catch of the year.
Carolina finally connects on one. They had a layup and finally hit it. They've had opportunities, but Daz Newsom ends up getting the ball in the end zone.
11 plays, 68 yards, 355. And Ruggles' point is good. Howell rips one in there for Newsom. 10-0 Carolina and Atlanta when we continue. Run 44 plays, 225 yards. Roddy, Georgia Tech 18 plays, just 75 yards. And Oliver will touch a knee. And we go back to the Howell to Newsom touchdown pass.
Yeah, so North Carolina comes out in formation with 4 guys split to the bottom of your screen, and that's Michael Carter, the running back. So the action of the screen pass to him actually draws up the safety, Wanye Thomas. He's right here. Watch him when the action comes. Sam Howell looks, fakes, and then it's just a verticals concept where he goes to the inside receiver. Daz Newsom makes a move on the safety and is able to get in the end zone. A really well-designed play out of an unconventional formation from the Tar Heels.
James Graham back at quarterback with Jordan Mason, the running back. That's Amarian Brown in motion. Fumbled the ball, caught it on the bounce, did Graham, but Chaz Surratt muscles him to the ground at the 27.
This play was messed up from the very beginning. It looked like either Amarian Brown was supposed to get the ball or he was supposed to get a fake. Either way, the timing was off. James Graham was able to avoid disaster and actually pick up a couple of yards.
A lot going on there.
Oh, man.
Brown almost came to a complete stop. Looked like William Lay almost snapped it into Amarian Brown on his noggin. Now they send Jair Hawkins out, Anderson out in formation, and he'll make a catch of it and fall forward to the 30 before Greg Ross will stop. Now Jair Hawkins Anderson from Northview High School here in the Atlanta area makes the catch, and Roddy, that's his first action from a statistical standpoint this year.
Yeah, Jeff Collins said he had an unbelievable week of practice, but Georgia Tech really needs a first down here. Their defense has been on the field basically the entire first half, it seems like. So if nothing else, I like them slowing down the pace to get the right play to get a first down. Trying to keep that defense, give them some rest.
3rd down and 6. Graham wants to throw. Forced to the left side and out of bounds, well short of the first down. Chaz Surratt again. Remember now, Chaz Surratt was the National Player of the Year in high school at quarterback.
One of the best stories in all of college football. And the coach just told us he went to them and said, hey, I want to play linebacker. Jay Bateman said, have you ever played linebacker before? I said, no. They gave him a shot because he's an athlete, and he forces the Georgia Tech punt.
As Newsome back to return now. He averages 7 yards a return. Presley Harvin gets it away. Newsome from the 19. Out of bounds at the 25. And we get a timeout in Atlanta. Tar Heels back on offense when we come back. Question, Tobias Oliver and Jordan Mason lead Georgia Tech in yards per carry. Who holds the Jackets all-time mark for career yards per carry?
This one's a layup.
Is it Roddy Jones?
Here's the qualification. It depends on what the minimum number of carries is. Generally, they go by 200 carries.
Here's Michael Carter for a couple yards as Roddy's dissertation continues.
Hey, look, generally it's 200 carries, and if that is the marker here, then yeah, it's me. But Orwin Smith ended his career with 199 carries, and he averaged, I think, either a full yard or a yard and a half more than I did. So.
Well, how unfair an advantage is this? A former play-by-play guy for the Yellow Jackets and a former running back for the Yellow Jackets versus me in an Aflac trivia question.
Throw and a catch by De'Ami Brown. I didn't realize it was going to melt down to that right away, did you?
No, I mean, of course not. But I mean, you would have an unfair advantage because you went through the stats. I was just on the field playing.
I was going to say Anthony Allen.
There you go. He's up there.
He is up there. Here's the throw. Tap. Almost intercepted. Howell came within a whisker of his second pick of the day. Demetrius Knight almost had his first interception as a Yellow Jacket.
And once again, the coverage fools Sam Howell a little bit. That's a really good break to get out there underneath the route by Demetrius Knight, the freshman.
I'll tell you this, Georgia Tech gets Carolina to the stall on 3 and out for the first time.
Yep.
And that is as big for the defense of the Jackets as it is for the offense of Jeff Collins.
You're exactly right.
Kiernan. Side swipes one to Blancato. And he's taken down at the 21-yard line. Punt is 51 yards. Okay, the answer to the Aflac trivia question, Eric, is Roddy Jones. Believe it or not. 7.6 yards per carry from 2008 to 2011. Let's go to the videotape. South Carolina State couldn't stop him. Oh, you know what this is. 2008 between the hedges. I think that was the 2-point play, wasn't it?
It was, yep.
And here's the game winner, Eric. This is why the guy doesn't buy dinner in Atlanta.
And he didn't have to buy lunch yesterday either because he ran faster than me when we were doing the timed catapult deal, which is a little teaser for something that will likely come later.
Jeez.
Guys, you guys.
It's a tax-free weekend for Jones.
You guys forgot. I'd like for you to refer to me as Mr. Chairman this week,
no, we're going to get to that today. Ball at the 23, and then a nice run by Jerry Howard gets Georgia Tech 9. Under 3 to go, and maybe the most important offensive drive of the day for Collins' team. And Jordan Mason bangs away to the 44. Now the Jackets have 3 timeouts as we go under 3 minutes to play here.
Well, and a little momentum. You almost pick off Sam Howell on the other side, get North Carolina's offense off the field in a 3 and out. And Georgia Tech's had a couple of drives, a couple of 7-play drives where they've been able to move the ball, just not able to punch it in the end zone. But you feel the momentum swinging the Jackets' way.
Graham tries to keep it, and boy, Carolina handled it well. Surratt and then Gemmel right there, the 2 linebackers.
Oh, he missed the read, Wes. That's a give read all day. Had he done it, you'd have had another pretty good gain. Get a look there of the unique boards used by this Georgia Tech offense. Chaz Surratt did a good job of sniffing it out.
It's a Carolina defensive card, by the way. Alan Cater got in the neutral zone. Georgia Tech didn't move.
I saw the Georgia Tech on there, and all of a sudden got all discombobulated, which is probably what Carolina's defense wants.
Graham looping it from Malachi Carter out of bounds. State Farm halftime report on the way. Boston College, Louisville, and a wild one at Cardinal Stadium. A preview of Duke and Pittsburgh tonight in Durham. And first half stats and highlights with Kelsey Riggs, Eric McLean, E.J. Manuel, and Coach Mark Rick, who last night on the huddle put a Georgia Tech helmet on, Roddy.
Yeah, it was a game show, and he ended up on the wrong side of the put your rival's helmet on.
Yeah. Graham in trouble, Tamon Fox. And a timeout taken by Mack Brown on 1:42 to play in this first half. Fox has had a heck of a first half for Bateman's defense. 10-0 when we come back to Atlanta. Cade Long handles the long snaps. And Daz Newsome waits. Line drive, chance for a return perhaps. Newsome slides through, stretches out to the 39-yard line, and that's where the Tar Heels get started. Well, we told you earlier, Pittsburgh and Duke come up tonight, 8 o'clock at the Horseshoe in Durham. Blue Devils and Panthers, and here is Tim Hasselbeck with a preview.
Well, it looks like this game might come down to that Pitt pass rush getting after Quentin Harris. 24 sacks on the season for Pitt. But they're going to see some of that triple option, and Wes, I know this. I know that Roddy can tell you about that triple option. Hard to defend. Could be an interesting one.
Ooh, Quentin Harris tonight, little option game.
Yeah, he's right. They broke it out against Alabama a little bit, and if nothing else, it's something that Pitt has to prepare for, that they've got to spend time at during the week going through.
Howell giving ground, flips it to Carter. Blockers in front. Michael Carter out of bounds at the 20. Trey Swilling might have saved the touchdown.
The thing on the other side of this, Wes, is Brentavious Clanton actually plays this well. Watch Big 97 snip it out and almost get a finger on that ball. But Sam Howell with a great throw, getting it to Michael Carter. And you're exactly right. Trey Swilling plays it well to get Carter out of bounds.
41-yard play sets Carolina up just outside the Georgia Tech 20. Into the flat, Newsome. Cut back to 10 and knocked out of bounds. First and goal from the 8 with 73 seconds to play here in the first half.
Georgia Tech player down. Carolina right around 50 plays, nearing its 50th play during this game.
It's Charlie Thomas who's shaken up.
With the way they're stretching him, it looks like it's a cramp. And with the amount of plays that North Carolina has run over the course of, I mean, they're on pace to go over 100 plays for the game.
The interesting part is we spent the last couple of weeks talking to Dino Babers about tempo and offense. And Eric, to be honest, Roddy, I think we've seen Carolina and Phil Longo today, outside that 3-and-out in their last possession, really be able to kind of set the bar today of what they want to get done on offense.
Yeah, they've done a great job of moving the sticks, extending drives, and that's how you get over 50 plays in the first half. And as this game goes on, this is a big offensive line, bigger than most you see in a no-huddle offense. But we heard from Phil Longo yesterday, the offensive line loves the up-tempo because they know if they're tired, the defense is more tired, and they can just simply wear on guys, and that's led to so much of their red zone success.
And that's a really good point. The red zone success is a big part of it. Andrew Thacker talked about it. But the other side of it is their ability to vary the tempo, because last week against Clemson, they slowed it down. You want to shorten the game, help your defense out a little bit. This is more the tempo that they actually like to be at with Phil Longo, the offensive coordinator, who's done a fantastic job everywhere he's been.
Here's the situation now with Howell in the gun, and that's Brown to his left and Newsome to his right. Wow, look at that. Now Carter drops into the backfield and they reset. Michael Carter the handoff, and a good play by David Curry. Really fine play by the jacket backer.
Pretty interesting before that play. Before the shift, Jeff Collins was running down the sideline telling the referee, that's an illegal formation, that's an illegal formation. I was waiting for them to shift, and they did it the last second.
He had him ready, though.
Second down. Howell. Carter in the flat. Got to get around the guy. Slides inside and brought down by Chimeza, the big defensive tackle. Got a play made out in space against, I believe, Samari Walton.
Yeah, it was Samari Walton was the initial guy he made miss. Down here towards the goal line. They're obviously going to get man-to-man coverage across the board. They've got Bo Corrales to the bottom in one-on-one.
Loop it for Corrales. Caught it. Touchdown, Carolina against Samari Walton. With 13 seconds left, Sam Howell throws his second touchdown pass of the day, and Bo Corrales catches his third of the year.
Well, they did it earlier in the year. Bo Corrales getting lined up, a back shoulder throw. How about that throw and catch? I mean, Howell puts it right on the pylon. Corrales uses all 6'4" of his frame and his arms to snag that ball out of the air. What a statement for North Carolina. After the 3-and-out, Georgia Tech gets the ball, goes down. They're able to force the punt, a good punt return, and a statement right before halftime.
So Howell now 198 on 17 of 29 and 2 scores.
That play happened right in front of me, guys. And Bo Corrales, he is 6'4". Samari Walton, 6'3". That is big on big. You don't see a lot of 6'3" corners get taken advantage of because of their size on the goal line, but that is exactly what Bo Corrales did.
Well, that last shot we showed shows just how indefensible that is. I mean, that ball's thrown 2 feet behind Bo Corrales, and because of his length, he's able to snag it. There's no way Samari Walton's able to get to that ball. That's just that's a great throw and catch. It's just a great throw and catch. And if you're Georgia Tech, you got to tip your cap. Unfortunately, it ends up with points on the board for North Carolina.
All right, how aggressive do you want to be with Jeff Collins here? 13 seconds. You got 3 timeouts. Roddy, you get the ball to start second half.
You get the ball out of half. If he gets a great return, maybe you throw one to the end zone. But other than that, I think Georgia Tech's just going to take it.
Tar Heels will take an advantage to the locker room nonetheless. Cooper Graham will skip it along the ground. Tobias Oliver at the 11. And knocked out of bounds with 9 seconds left. And don't forget, we spent last Thursday on All ACC covering women's basketball. This Tuesday, the men will take center stage in Charlotte. 3 hours of All ACC special edition comes up at 10 a.m. on ACC Network. We'll preview the season ahead, coaches and players from each team and their insight. 10-1 right here on ACC Network.
You guys are doing the show from there, right?
We are indeed. Packer and Durham at 7. Get the big day in Charlotte going.
You're going to be there, right?
I will be.
Okay.
Yes.
Your name's on the masthead, so I figured it.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Touch of the knee by Graham will get the teams to the locker room. Well, it kind of slogged back and forth at times, but Roddy, Carolina got 2 big scores here in the last 6.5 minutes.
I think when Eric talks to Mac Brown, if I were him, I'd be frustrated with the way it started, but certainly you're pleased going into halftime, leading by 17 points. They are a little bit worn down, seem to be a little bit worn down towards the end.
Kick will go out of bounds through the back of the end zone. And let's check with Eric Wood.
I talked to Jeff Collins coming out of the half, and coming off putting up 0 points in the first half, he said his offense simply has to check the right plays, get into the right play calls, and take advantage of the blitzes that North Carolina is giving them. Get some plays and make some plays down the field.
Well, James Graham, the young man, Fitzgerald, Georgia, the redshirt freshman, starting today at quarterback for the Jackets. Longest play the Jackets had in the first half, 17 yards. And this is Jordan Mason. Kind of faked the sweep to Amarian Brown and then hand to Mason, who gets 4.5 on first down.
This shutout in the first half for Georgia Tech. This is coming off a game where their offense did not score at all against Temple. They are desperately trying to find some rhythm in this offense.
Yeah, and in that Temple game, 3 turnovers killed him, including a fumble going into the end zone, an interception in the end zone. But at the end of the day, it's about putting up points, finishing drives. And Eric, you're right. They got to find some rhythm here.
Yep. I thought they had it, Roddy, at times in the first half.
Yeah, when your offense is operating like Georgia Tech's has been, that's fleeting, as we've seen here today.
Carolina got Storm Duck. Come on, that's a great name. Come on.
I'm honestly surprised it took you to the second half to say his name, period. I mean, I just thought you'd say it no matter what. It's one of the best names in the ACC.
E. Wood called it last night in the production meeting.
Yeah.
Storm Duck, we're going to say it before the day's over. Freshman from Bowling Springs, South Carolina. He and Surratt there to hold Georgia Tech to no gain. So 3rd and a full 5 for the Jackets.
Looks like you got one-on-one to the boundary. Coach Collins told us don't like those.
Graham up in the pocket, sacked. And that is Aaron Crawford. 3 and out. Go the Jackets. 2nd sack of Graham.
Crawford's right up the middle, working on the center. William Lay going to just use a power move, get into the backfield, and that's why Georgia Tech doesn't want to be in those types of situations where it's an obvious passing situation on 3rd down, because with the injuries that they've had up front, Kenny Cooper going down at center, forcing Lay into action, it just makes it tough to be able to protect against a very talented front for North Carolina.
Presley Harvin to punt. Daz Newsome will make the fair catch. Harvin lined one at Newsome toward the end of the first half, and Newsome was able to get a little momentum. That one had a little more air under it. So Sam Howell and Carolina will start from inch 33.
Well, Mac Brown told Eric before the half that the first 5 minutes of the 3rd quarter were going to be huge. His defense comes out, does their part with the 3 and out. See where this offense is in terms of sharpness. Because at the beginning of the first half, remember, that was the sloppiness, the drops that you referenced. Later in the second half, they really got going. Which North Carolina offense are we going to see?
Michael Carter going left. Gets a block on the edge from the tight end Walston and has a first down. Right at 15 yards, 14 and a half for Michael Carter.
This is more of what we were expecting coming into the day. And as this game wears on, the Georgia Tech rush defense that has struggled throughout this year is showing its head.
Here's the quick throw and the catch. De'Ami Brown, 9 on first down. This is some kind of catch now.
We've seen the inconsistencies that young receivers bring you, but we've also seen the top-end talent that these receivers have. Man, between he, Daz Newsome, Bo Corrales, they have all made highlight catches here today. That one may move right up to the top of the list on the slant route.
Carter and Javonte Williams both in the backfield with Howell here on 2nd and short. Howell out in the flat. Javonte Williams, easy first down, and then lays the wood on Bruce Jordan Swilling.
Roddy, you mentioned how good the receiving corps has been this year for North Carolina, and all of these guys return next year. And you have Sam Howell, who is a true freshman. The future is very bright for this North Carolina team.
Yeah, and by the way, Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, the 2 running backs, they're back next year too.
Here's Javonte Williams. And he will fight toward the 26, turned around by David Curry. Well, Mac Brown said the first 5 minutes, and we're 3.5 in, guys. Tar Heels approaching the Georgia Tech red zone here.
Get a stop on defense. The offense looks to be the offense we saw at the end of the first half. Just shy of the red zone here.
Howell looking to throw. Shoots it in the middle of the field. De'Ami Brown, first and goal, Carolina at the Georgia Tech 6-yard line. Roddy, this guy can sling it now.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting because he had a post route from Brown. He had a wheel route from Gaz. Newsome opted for the post, and even though that's on the back hip, a little behind the receiver, Brown does a really good job of stopping and making the play. I actually think he wanted to throw it a little behind the receiver so he doesn't run him right into safety.
Javonte Williams cannot break away from Brentavious Glenn. Big 97, and a flag has been thrown. I think it's going to be on Charlie Heck for a little extra in the end zone.
It is going to be on Charlie Heck. I watched him on the entire play of that play. He drives the defender all the way into the end zone. He does get flagged for an extra little shove, probably a little high at the defender's kind of in his face mask area.
Personal foul. North Carolina, number 67. 15-yard penalty. The foul
Charlie
occurred
Heck
after
is
the
a
play.
tone setter up
Second
front,
down.
though.
So the play, by the way,
46, please.
will count. It is a post-scrimmage foul, 15 yards. Fourth penalty on the Tar Heels for 45 yards. But like we saw in one of the earlier games we were watching today with Louisville and Boston College, fouls like this in this part of the field, Roddy, can be lethal.
Yeah, they magnify themselves for sure.
Howell flips it to Carter. And David Curry, a nice play on a screen pass that earlier in the ball game really paid off for the Tar Heels.
Call David Curry's name a lot. He's the elder statesman of this crew. Was reclassified, was a senior coming in this year, reclassified as a junior after being granted a medical hardship. He has been all over the place. Really smart player, has been a true leader for Jeff Collins. Trying to get the crowd pumped up here on a third down.
His dad, Buddy Curry, an all-ACC performer at North Carolina on a Tar Heel ACC championship team in the 1980s. Howell loops it for Corrales. Missed time the jump with Zamari Walton, incomplete. Why wouldn't you throw it to the 6'5", 6'4.5" Corrales?
It's worked once. That time, Corrales just mistimes the jump. I'm not sure he'd have had a great shot at it had he timed it well. I think that ball may have been a little out of bounds, a little too far out of play. But that's as good a play as any for Sam Howell in this offense under the circumstances. And now Georgia Tech forced a field goal.
Ruggles hit earlier from 32. Just shy of 40. And it is no good. So Ruggles misses the field goal. The Tar Heels are turned away after 9 plays. America, first-round pick of the Tennessee Titans, goes into the Georgia Tech Athletics Hall of Fame last night as the Jackets get started here on first down. Out on the perimeter to Malachi Carter, so second and short coming up. And Derek Morgan's good enough to join us. First of all, congratulations on the Hall of Fame last night.
Congrats, man. The man.
10 years goes fast.
What happened?
What happened, right?
What happened to 10 years?
Well, you just retired now.
I did a couple months ago. Man, it's been a great career and something that was coming to a culmination, and I'm glad I was able to play out both my contracts and leave on my own terms.
Yeah. And you've got some familiarity with Jeff Collins. He was on the staff when you were getting recruited. What do you remember about Coach Collins from the recruiting process?
Oh, man. I mean, he brought us all together, man. I think that our 07 class was something special, man. And I think, that's what you need when you want to win a lot of games. Go.
Here's Jordan Mason, best run of the day for Georgia Tech, their best offensive play.
Yeah.
And inside the 25 goes Mason. Knocked out of bounds by Miles Dorn on a 56-yard run.
So let Derek break this one down. He just creases him right up the middle.
Good move.
And then there's that Derek Morgan speed.
Yeah, I don't know
That's
about
speed
all that.
off the edge,
I got the first 10 yards for you. That's it.
So they measure it back to the 27. And Georgia Tech offensively now with Jamias Griffin in the ball game to work with James Graham.
How about these uniforms?
Oh, they're awesome, man.
They're amazing.
They're awesome.
Graham Going to throw for the end zone, and it is incomplete. Amarian Brown, the intended receiver.
You got to replay that.
So we'll see the replay here. Derek, tell me what you think.
I don't know, man. It looked like kind of some. Let me see if it comes down with it. Looked like. That's out.
It's out at the very end.
Yes,
you're right.
That was close, though.
That's a good call. You're gonna take my job.
Nah, I don't know about that.
So tell me about going into the Hall of Fame. I mean, you get that call from Georgia Tech saying, hey, we're gonna bring you into the Georgia Tech Hall of Fame.
Rolling on the field.
It sounds like they're gonna review
Incomplete
this.
pass. That play is under further review.
But what was that like for you?
You know, to be honest, man, I wasn't even thinking about it. I wasn't even aware that the Hall of Fame was coming up or that I was even eligible for it. You know, I thought I had to be, gray haired to actually get into the Hall of Fame. But, like we talked about, 10 years goes by like that. And so to be inducted is just a real honor, man. I'm glad that I was able to kind of get that opportunity, and it's a real blessing, man. I feel really humbled and feel really blessed to be inducted.
Derek, you were here at a transitional time. You mentioned the 07 class, which Roddy was part of, as you were. Jonathan Dwyer, Josh Nesbitt, Demarius Thomas, all those guys.
Yeah.
The other interesting note about it is there was also a coaching change. Chan Gailey to Paul Johnson. A little bit like, and here's Jeff Flanagan with the interpretation.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Incomplete pass.
All right, so it is confirmed as an incomplete pass. I guess the point I make about the coaching change is you had to go from Chan Gailey to Paul Johnson, kind of new philosophies, much like what this Georgia Tech team's having to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rebuilding phase almost, right? I think we were kind of an anomaly, right, where we kind of went, in the positive direction from day one. But I think anytime you have a coaching change, I mean, I had 5 head coaches throughout my NFL career, and it's almost like you got to take, 2 steps back to go 3 steps forward. But it was a process.
So now second in the full 10 coming up.
So when you look at this Georgia Tech team, obviously offensive and defensive lines don't necessarily fit with Coach Collins ultimately wants. But what do you see that are positives to build on?
Oh, man, I think the effort's there, right? I think you see a lot of guys that love to play football. The enthusiasm is there. You can see that on the sideline. It's kind of, they got that energy going. So, I mean, you could build off that. That's a fundamental that you got to have guys that love to play ball.
I know you said you were ready to retire from the National Football League. Take us through what this next step for Derek Morgan's like.
I came into this last year, 2018, kind of knowing in my mind that was my last year. And I've been setting up things off the field throughout my whole career so I knew this day was coming. So, to kind of ease in the transition. So I'm really excited about this next chapter. Got a lot of...
It does hit Brown now.
That's out, Russ.
The Georgia Tech touchdown to Malachi Carter. 28 yards. On just a loop from James Graham. What a throw this is, Roddy.
Well, they had a shot down the field earlier that they missed. This time you get an out and up from Malachi Carter. And James Graham doesn't miss twice. We're going to put that one in the corner of the end zone. Georgia Tech's on the board. And now it's a 2-score game. So this is interesting, especially if they're able to get a stop on defense.
Point after is good. 91, great to see you, my man. Congratulations.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, too.
Derek Morgan joins us. Malachi Carter, the touchdown. Georgia.
The games between these two teams, you'd be hard-pressed to find one that a Durham has not done.
This is Thorpe, TJ Thorpe returning it for the first time, and he's loose. Thorpe at the 40 of Clemson, at the 20. He's going to take it to the house. Touchdown, Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Hashtag Hey
Flyers
Woody.
come back in. Jones in motion. Here is Nesbitt tossing. This is Jones. He'll cut back at the 10. Roddy at the 5. He'll score in the south end zone. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. And for Roddy Jones, he's in the end zone for the first time this year.
What, it took you that many games to score? Here's Carter on the kick. And Malachi Carter out to the 29. I appreciate you guys doing that.
Man, so you can't say it, but the Durham family, the Durham name carries a lot of weight at these two schools. For what your dad did at Carolina for so long, what you did here at Georgia Tech for so long, we felt like we had to. You guys have been special to this game for a long, long time. You deserve it.
I got to tell you, seeing Brian Simmons downstairs today with Jones Angels doing the Carolina games, Sean Bedford, who I did his games with you when you played. And Brian Simmons was on the last Carolina team to win here in Atlanta. And then one of my dad's all-time favorite Carolina players, and he hated making favorites, was Tommy Thigpen, who's now a linebackers coach who played linebacker from Dumfries, Virginia, who's on Mac Brown's staff. It's been like getting in a time machine today. And Mac Brown last night, unbelievable.
Mac Brown wore you out about your dad wouldn't have asked me that question.
That's exactly right, yeah. Here's Howell. And the ball is juggled and then dropped. De'Ami Brown incomplete. Roddy, the momentum here after the personal foul penalty on Charlie Heck, is it that simple?
Well, I think during this whole game, North Carolina just has not taken advantage of all of their opportunities. The personal foul penalty certainly hurts. But Georgia Tech, this crowd is starting to get back into it. They're starting to believe that it being a two-score game, you've got some life on offense. North Carolina's had success going to these guys in the slot. We'll see if Sam Howell goes there.
8 of 13 on third down. Newsome the catch and not going anywhere. What an effort that time, but Johnny Kerr held on and got Daz Newsome down.
Well, the difference between the first half and the second half, Georgia Tech opts to send 3 and drop 8, knowing that those slots are a tough matchup in man-to-man coverage. So you just play back, let them catch the ball in front of you, rally and tackle. Georgia Tech, you can feel it in this building. People are kind of starting to believe that they are in this football game.
Yep. So here is Kiernan, the young man from Ireland who came to the United States. Ends up as a punter. And this is Blancato. And he'll be taken down by Surratt, shy of the 35. Timeout in Atlanta. James Graham back to work in a moment.
James Graham in his first true start as the Yellow Jackets quarterback, where he is the showcase at quarterback.
So after the touchdown pass to Carter, Jerry Howard in the backfield, and Graham runs into Surratt for a gain of 4 to the 31. So the 36, it'll be second down and 6.
This is really the first time you felt like North Carolina's defense is going to need a stop.
Oh boy.
To be able to affect momentum. Looked like the ball might have been moving there, Wes, before he hit the ground. Let's see if they review it.
Tell you what. They get it snapped. And there's no stoppage of play here. Play on, and this is Mason, and boy, Carolina's Aaron Crawford leads the parade there. 92 has been the definition of a run stopper here this afternoon.
Well, coming into this game, Jason Strowbridge is kind of the headliner. He's the guy that NFL scouts are really excited about, but Aaron Crawford has been the man in this game, dominating that matchup against the center. You see both of them right there. Georgia Tech has moved the pocket a lot on these third downs to avoid the rush that those two could provide.
So now 3rd and 9. Graham, Fox got to him and forced the incompletion. And as well as Crawford has played, so has Tamon Fox for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, actually on these third downs, it has been Tamon Fox that has absolutely dominated his matchup. He's able to run right past Zach Quinney, the left tackle, put pressure on James Graham, who looked like he may have had a receiver open to the bottom, but not able to get it off.
So Presley Harvin to punt it to Daz Newsome. Cade Long handles the snap. Harvin drives this one to Newsome. And it will skip out of bounds. And that brings us to a moment where we can tell you, of course, ACC Network primetime football presented by Geico tonight, Wallace Wade Stadium, where the Panthers and Blue Devils meet. For the late game, Tim Hasselbeck, a preview.
Well, it looks like this game might come down to that Pitt pass rush, getting after Quentin Harris. 24 sacks on the season for Pitt. But they're going to see some of that triple option. And Wes, I know this. I know that Roddy can tell you about that triple option. Hard to defend. Could be an interesting one.
All right. Look forward to Tim, Dave O'Brien, Katie George back with him tonight at Wallace Wade Stadium under the lights. Howell here in the flat. This is Newsom who came on the orbit. And he's going to be stopped shy of the 30-yard line by Miles Sims of the Jackets. Second down coming up here. Third quarter moving along quickly. Flip to Carter. Big seam. First down to the 36. And now a flag's been thrown. And I don't know, De'Ami Brown looked like he was mixing it up over on the far side with Trey Swilling.
Holding, number 84 on the offense. 10-yard penalty.
Garrett Walston ticketed here.
That's North Carolina's 5th penalty of the day. They've certainly been costly right here on the right side.
Caleb Oliver, the Georgia Tech player.
Ooh, I'm not so sure about that one. Off of what we saw there. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
I stand corrected.
Which is always good. Howell fumbled the snap, picks it up, tries to move around the pocket. He'll be sacked. It'll be 3rd and long. Chris Martin was the first Georgia Tech player there. First sack of the day for the Jackets.
Kelton Dawson as well, getting back there, big number 90, wearing that number in honor of Brandon Adams. But 96, Chris Martin, absolutely dominating up the middle. And Wes, there's not a great 3rd and 16 call in the playbook. And Georgia Tech opted to go coverage last time it was 3rd and long. They've got 3 safeties deep. Expect them to drop 8 again.
They only bring 3. Howell loads it up. Caught Corrales. It's a first down to the 37. I thought it was for Daz Newsom, and it went over the top of Newsom to Bo Corrales for 20.
Daz Newsom thought it was to Daz Newsom too. But Corrales able to hook up right at the sticks. And on the 3rd and 16, Corrales makes the catch. North Carolina converts. That's incredible.
It's the best ball Daz Newsom never caught. 1st and 10. Howell on the play fake to Javonte Williams. Looking, and Newsom. It was thrown behind Daz Newsom with Wanye Thomas defending for Georgia Tech.
Back to the 3rd down play. A team that runs as much press man as Georgia Tech does. When you drop 8, sometimes you're not comfortable in coverage like that. Expect Georgia Tech to simply do what they do best for now on 3rd downs.
Yeah, that's a good point. How many times do you see those guys dropping in zone, drop 2 yards too deep, and the guy hooks up right at the sticks, just like we saw.
Timeout, injured player.
Georgia
40
Tech
seconds on the play clock.
Caleb
please.
Oliver off the field. He was shaken up. And so Jeff Flanagan and his group, they want to get these teams back out here because Oliver was able to get off the field. So there's no need to stop play. There's the young man Oliver, who went to Oakland High School up in the Middle Tennessee area in Murfreesboro. 2nd in the full 10. With time, deep shot, toe Groves, overthrown, incomplete.
It's almost comical and certainly frustrating how many of those that they've missed. Almost 5 by my count. The separation there is incredible. It's a good route combination, and North Carolina could be lighting up this scoreboard, really testing all of the scores, but not able to connect on a lot of these deep balls. Sets up another 3rd down. And Eric, I think what you said, Georgia Tech back looking like they're going to press.
Here's Howell, backs up, throws. De'Ami Brown caught it, first down at the 49. 2 huge third down conversions for the Tar Heels in this drive.
Well, it was massive. You get press man. De'Ami Brown does a good job of pushing past the sticks, getting to 13 yards, and then coming back to Sam Howell so that he's able to catch the ball with enough for the first down.
Flag thrown on the run by Javonte Williams. And let's see what we have here.
You got one in the neighborhood of a legal substitution, the other maybe an offsides.
Is Georgia Tech trying to get players off the field here?
Illegal substitution defense. The replaced players did not get off the field before the snap. That penalty will be declined. The result of the play is a first down.
So the Williams run to the 38 stands against Collins' team.
Please set the game clock for 1 minute, 57 seconds, please.
Going back to that third down play, Sam Howell moves a little bit, but you see Brown coming back to the football, able to catch it against Samari Walton, pushes him past the sticks and then comes back. That's textbook for any young receiver out there looking at what to do on a third down.
Well, a pat and go for Walston. Incomplete. Eric, I don't know how you see it at field level, but if Sam Howell's my quarterback, I don't stop running.
No, he has absolutely excellent pocket presence, and he does a great job of keeping his eyes down the field at all times. I heard Dabo Sweeney say it last week. He compared him to Baker Mayfield, and it jumps off the field to me. He does a great job of keeping his base, always resetting on balance for his throws as he moves, just like Baker Mayfield does.
Here's Carter on a little counter to the 31, 32-yard line. Third down coming up. 96 seconds to play here in this third period.
Eric, that point that you just made about his base was fantastic because he did it on that third down as well. Just faded a little to his left, sets and throws. And now they're facing another third down.
With the wind being a factor on the last field goal, it is really whipping down here at field level. This is true four-down territory for North Carolina here.
See what they choose out of Phil Longo's book. Carter to carry, and a great play by Kelton Dawson. Dawson does a fabulous job of fighting through to get Carter on the ground. And now 4th and 7 is the call.
Well, Eric, the play call would suggest that the North Carolina coaches agreed with you, and sure enough, they're leaving the offense on the field. They certainly didn't anticipate to lose yards on that play, but at worst, you think 2-3 yard gain gets us into a 4th and manageable. Now you got to come with your best third and long play to convert on 4th and long.
Tar Heels are 9 of 11 on 4th down this season. Howell to throw. Across the middle, caught. Toe Groves. First down at the 20.
Just a nice route combination coming from the right side. Sam Howell staring down the barrel of pressure, delivers that football, and it's a little behind your receiver, but when your quarterback's under pressure and that ball's catchable, you got to come down with it, especially on 4th down. Toe Groves, Rontanius Groves does it right there.
All right. Sam Howell now, second 300-yard game of his young career. He had 323 and 3 touchdowns in the lost Appalachian. And here with 19 seconds to go in the third, the throw to Groves pushes him over 300 here today.
And
Bruce Jordan Swilling is shaken up.
Well, thinking back to some of those missed opportunities deep down the field, some of the drop passes, Sam Howell could have about 450 in this game had all of those been completed.
Jordan Swilling, the one down on the field. It appears to be an upper body injury. He is the one that made contact with Howell at the end of the play. Not sure exactly what happened, but oftentimes you will not see the defender that hits the quarterback as the one injured, as we do see here.
Yep, Jeff Collins out there to help up Bruce Jordan Swilling from New Orleans. Well, I'll go back to what we had, earlier in this period when Carolina was in this neighborhood, Roddy. 17-0 game at the time. The value or the premium on the possession is just, as you see Jordan Swilling walk off, really for both schools. We go to the 4th. Carolina 17, Georgia Tech 7 with Roddy Jones, Eric Wood, Wes Durham, 1st and 10 for the Tar Heels. at the Jackets' 2013 play of the drive, coming up with the freshman Sam Howell. Over 300 yards for the second time. Hands to Carter and David Curry with a tackle around the shoulder pads after a 2-yard gain.
That's a really good play by David Curry.
Yep.
Michael Carter saw the cutback and was able to put his foot in the ground and get back. And that's a quick running back. Curry's able to stop on a dime, wrangle him around his shoulder pads, and get him down to the ground. Really good play by the Georgia Tech linebacker. Carolina's got an uncovered receiver right there. Georgia Tech now trying to figure out who's going to cover him.
And now it's going to cost him a timeout. Christian Campbell slid out there.
Georgia Tech.
So Jeff Collins, easy fellas. Let's remain calm. All is well. Back after this.
2. Normal QBR 58. Sam Howell. It's been incredible late in games.
Javonte Williams with him out of the Georgia Tech timeout. Looking to the end zone, De'Ami Brown. Get a foot down? Yes! Touchdown, Carolina. Over the top of Trey Swilling.
Ball's up in the air. Brown goes up, high points it, foot down in the end zone. And wow, these Carolina receivers, it's been a little inconsistent at times, but you see this is a young group with incredible talent, great ball skills, and at their best, they are one of the best in the ACC. That is a great catch by De'Ami Brown.
3rd touchdown pass of the day for Howell. 23-7 the score, and Ruggles' point after is good. The other 2 were pretty good. This might be the best of the bunch here. That Carolina team that had gone 1-10, 1-10, and 88 and 89 went 6-4-1. Tommy Thigpen told me earlier, there's Tommy. That's when we started to believe.
Yep.
And a couple of years later, they beat Mississippi State down the street at the old Georgia Dome to win the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
Sometimes you need those statement wins where you're able to stand up to a really good football team, and it gives you the confidence to propel a program.
Yep.
And Mack Brown built a powerhouse.
And the return will get to about the 27 from Dante Smith, the young freshman. Don't forget Thursday, coming up on ACC Network, one of the best women's soccer matches of the night and really of the fall. Number 3, Carolina. Number 10, Duke over in Durham. 7 o'clock Eastern on ACC Network and the ESPN app. By the way, Mac reiterated earlier this week, Georgia Tech tied us.
Honestly, though, that's the mentality. You go 1-10, 1-10. That's the mentality that he had. And that's why he turned it into a top-5 program by the time he left and went to Texas.
Yeah, 1997.
It's a mentality that he still has.
Yes, sir. Here's Graham. Pump fake, now trying to dial one deep, and Amarian Brown never turned for it. It was underthrown by about 10 yards. Greg Ross covering for Carolina.
This is not the situation that Georgia Tech wants to be in on offense, and especially this offensive line. As a whole, this offensive line had to put on a combined 80 pounds between them to get up from their triple option weight to get to this size, and getting teed off down after down in pass rush is not ideal for them.
Yep.
You saw a shot of Dave Patnode, who's, I would say he's been a little frustrated with the quarterback play in general. He was excited about what James Graham could do, and that's because of things like this.
Adonicus Sanders has had a big day, and it continues. He rips off a big play inside the 35 to the 33. It's a 31-yard throw from Graham.
It's just an out, and Graham puts it right on the money. Adonicus Sanders is able to roll back to the inside. The big receiver breaks a tackle. And Wes, I've been pretty impressed with the skill of these receivers, particularly Malachi Carter and Adonicus Sanders. No, Amarian Brown can absolutely fly. There is some talent on the perimeter of this Georgia Tech team. The question is, can you find somebody to deliver it? And I think they have in James Graham. And can you protect up front?
They're going to hand the ball to Jerry Howard, the biggest of the backs. Blast through. It'll be 1st and 10 inside the 15 at the 14 on the Gimmel tackle. Well, you uncover guys like Sanders, who had 3 catches on the year coming in, now has 3 catches today. And Jerry Howard giving you some punch. He and Mason, 2 of the better runs today here in the second half.
Roddy, you mentioned they may have somebody in James Graham. And when Pat Node, their offensive coordinator, was talking about him, he said last week he had some throws that looked like an NFL quarterback, and then some that sailed into the stands.
Here's James Graham, who can really run. Turns the edge and is pulled out of bounds by Ross at the 2, 1st and goal.
Well, anytime any of these quarterbacks gets open field to the nub side, that tight end side, they're going to take it. There's nobody over there as Carolina traveled the corner over to play man-to-man. James Graham able to get a big game.
Jordan Mason, touchdown, Georgia Tech. And just like that, the Jackets match the Tar Heels.
What a drive by Georgia Tech. You missed the throw early down the field by throwing the ball out of bounds. James Graham, who Dave Patno told us has one of the shortest memories of any quarterback he's ever coached, delivers a strike outside. You get the big play to Adonicus Sanders, able to run the ball with Graham and Mason, and now Georgia Tech going for 2.
Down 11. Graham gonna jump pass. Tyler Davis, the tight end, for 2 points. Well, now we got ourselves a whole new ball game with 12:25 to go, Roddy.
Yeah, great play design. This is the touchdown. Jordan Mason into the end zone and then completed.
Trailing by 9, 12:25 to go. And Collins sends it, sees his kicker King send it to Michael Carter, and Georgia Tech's Jerry Howard stuck Carter on the kick return. So the Tar Heels get backed up. Well, today is Cape Day, and the Jackets honoring the young children who are battling disability and illness with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. These Adidas designed jerseys, the onyx gray look, and Cape Day has been big. Eric's got a cape.
Yeah, he does. What an awesome thing for Georgia Tech to partner with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta about it. And it's something that Children's Healthcare of Atlanta has done since 2014. Georgia Tech just getting involved this year. It's an annual thing where they sell these capes to support and honor the superheroes, the kids that are fighting those illnesses. It's absolutely awesome.
Javonte Williams slung out of bounds by Wanye Thomas. And earlier today, Georgia Tech presented a check, $200,000 for the check on the field to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta as part of the success of these jerseys. The jerseys being worn today will be auctioned off later as well, Roddy.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the proceeds from the replica jerseys and replica capes being sold, those go to Children's Healthcare as well.
What a bullet to Corrales. And Carolina a first down out to the 30-yard line. Sam Howell reloaded this one, I think.
And he takes an absolute shot as he's waiting for this to come open. But watch him just stand in the pocket. He's going to deliver the football, knows he's going to take a hit, and threw an absolute strike to Bo Corrales. Sam Howell has been very impressive. Even on the missed throws, I mean, he's right there. It seems like every time the ball leaves his hands.
Chris Martin's the guy that hit it for the Jackets. 1st and 10. Carolina shy of the 30. And Javonte Williams breaking free. Looks to the outside. A flag has gone down as Williams gets to the Georgia Tech 42, 43-yard line. Tar Heels are pointing toward the Jackets here for the penalty.
Personal foul, face mask number 32 on the defense. 15 yards to be added to the end of the run. First down.
Young the young man from Belgium, called for the face mask.
Had a shot right there at Javonte Williams. All he was able to get was a finger on the helmet. Williams able to rumble down and then tack on 15 to the end of it. North Carolina team, they've looked incredibly balanced today. Obviously, we thought they were going to be able to run the ball against this Georgia Tech team. And having missed some shots in the pass game, it's always good to be able to fall back on that run game when you have two really talented running backs.
Career high passing for Howell now, 336 on the day. And Javonte Williams tries to keep his feet. Georgia Tech got too much pressure. Antoine Owens was there, along with Damon Brooks and Charlie Thomas.
Sam Howell was a little slow to get up.
He'll need the cold tub tomorrow.
Antoine Owens did not pull up at all on that shot. But with Sam Howell sticking the ball in the receiver in the running back's belly, it allows him to take that shot.
Free play, De'Ami Brown. Overthrown incomplete with Trey Swilling, but I think Carolina's going to get a free 5 out of an early move from Georgia Tech.
Offside. Defense number 89. Penalty is 5 yards. Second down.
I love the awareness of Sam Howell here to take a shot down the field after the offside. You also can see that from the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, and take a shot down the field, because then you get a shot at a big play on a catch, and if you get a pass interference down there, you tack that on and you take the 15-yard penalty instead of the 5.
Yeah, it's cool how Aaron Rodgers kind of made that cool, that and in hurry-up situations, catching them with 12 on the field, and now everybody tries to do it with the hurry-up.
And a little management here of the clock with 10-12 to play.
Wes, honestly, I'm surprised Eric didn't say this, but it was a great job by the center as well. That time, Brian Anderson seeing the guy across the line of scrimmage, snap the football.
Yeah.
Let's operate. The center doesn't snap it, then it doesn't matter. Come on, Ewood. I thought you'd defend your center right there. Give him some props.
No, I will. And Anderson is a guy.
Please reset the game clock to 10 minutes and 28 seconds, please.
Anderson's a guy that Phil Longo specifically complimented after last week's performance. Said his best game of the year came against the best competition they faced all year in the Clemson defensive line.
Well, Carolina's lost one of their best leaders in the offensive line, and Nick Polino at center, so now a lot of it falls on the sophomore Anderson making his 4th start. Here's Howell. Shoots another one. Corrales the catch. Got hit immediately. And that was Miles Sims. But I think it's enough for the first down. We'll wait and see. And it is. At the 17. Roddy, you said this earlier in the half. Carolina is young at the skill offensively.
And if they can get really good on the offensive line, there's no reason this team is not going to be really good going forward.
Yep. Howell. There's Walston, the tight end. Did he get it in? Touchdown, Carolina for Garrett Walston. 16-yard throw. Walston's first touchdown of the year. 4th touchdown pass of the day for Sam Howell.
Up the sideline, flips the hips, able to make the play, and then leans in the end zone. Is that foot in bounds? Looks like there might be a little sliver of green. I don't know. That one's close right there.
See if they want to look at it. They will.
Rolling on the field is a touchdown.
If it's
That
not a
play is under further
touchdown,
review.
it'll be 1st and goal at the 1.
And those light-colored cleats make it hard to determine whether or not it's on there. He definitely gets the pylon. The question is that foot on the line?
Another great effort. Director Adam Bryant and his camera folks here today. This is a super shot. The best one, at least Roddy, from what we've seen, is this one.
That one right there.
Is there enough there?
I don't know. I don't think there's enough to overturn it. And you can see the line is obstructed, but I don't know. I would say that this one stands, in my opinion. Maybe the refs have a better beat on it than I do, but there's not enough there to say that his foot definitely was on the line, even though it is obstructing the line. You can't see the line there, obviously, because his foot's in front of it, but is that a result of the angle, or is that a result of his foot being on there?
Jeff Flanagan is going through a long look here, and Command Center in Greensboro, the replay crew here, all having a look-see.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Touchdown for Walston. He came into the ball game with a 4-yard catch at Wake Forest. And he's been a presence in the throw game for Howell here today.
Yeah, he did. He has. He does a great job of flipping his hips, and I think that's a good job by the referees of taking a look at it. But Wes, you and I sat in those officials, the replay officials meetings this summer, and the question always was that came up, is there enough to go against what the call on the field was? And in that case, there was not.
Ruggles punches through the point. Carolina has doubled the number on Georgia Tech. Under 10 to go, and Sam Howell has thrown for a career-high 362 and now 4 touchdowns. This was their first. They went 87 yards in 6 plays in 232 to make it 31-15 after the Ruggles kick. Mac Brown's team puts it back on Jeff Collins and Georgia Tech's offense, who does have 2 touchdowns here in the second half. And that kick is going to be fielded. Dante Smith, the freshman, 25, and Smith will be brought down shy of the 30-yard line. All right, so
high speed, just a little bit higher than mine, but we had fun and we appreciated Georgia Tech taking us behind the scenes of the catapult system that so many schools are now using.
That ball got broken up on the way to Davis. And that was Storm Duck reaching a hand in. Now I want to know more about the readout on the computer screen there, 20.
Well, Coach Ryan Horton took us through it. You see him there, and he runs this catapult system for Georgia Tech, which gives readouts like the ones that Eric and I got. It gives top speed, overall load, how far these guys have traveled, acceleration and deceleration numbers, talking about how taxed they are. And they use it in a preventative way to try and prepare guys for games, but also to try and back guys off when their load is increasing. If the load that they've had over the last week is greater than what they've been training for, right, then they sit a guy down a little bit so that he doesn't pull a hamstring or have another soft tissue injury.
See, that was, you've already brought up the most important reason that Durham was not there.
Oh, man.
Load management.
We tried to get you out there, man.
Load management,
we tried.
Eric. It's a thing.
Hey, we got to compliment Wes, though. He's down 46 pounds this year. My man's doing great, but he was not willing to get out on the catapult with us.
No.
But the biggest thing you said, injuries are down, and they've seen a number of injuries through training camp, especially where guys get worn out. They've been able to get those guys off the field just before a lot of times when they would have those big injuries to the soft tissue.
Graham got blasted by Crawford, and Malachi Carter couldn't hang on the back end. But Aaron Crawford has been really good today.
Well, Aaron Crawford has a matchup that he likes. That time he's over in Zach Quinney, the left tackle, and he absolutely plants James Graham. And it's real nice to be the starting quarterback, but that means you got to take the starting quarterback hits from the big fellows like Aaron Crawford, who tips the scales at 290.
Presley Harvin will punt it away to Daz Newsome. 9:28 to go.
Rod, you mentioned earlier we wanted to come into the game talking a lot about Jason Strobridge, and he has flashed a little bit today, but it's really been all Aaron Crawford. In Strobridge's defense, he has battled an injury all season. He is looking very forward to this bye week coming up next week, where he can get some downtime, get fully healthy, and make a big push for their ACC slate coming up.
Newsome signals for the fair catch, albeit 3/4 of the way through ball flight, but it's at the 27 for Sam Howell. Don't forget, I'm telling you, you need to catch up on the full day of ACC football. Scores, highlights, breakdowns, opinions, cheese balls, sports, everything else.
Sandwiches.
All ACC, sandwiches, 10 bites. Nobody covers it like we do. 11 o'clock Eastern tonight on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Kelsey Riggs will try and keep decorum with EJ, Eric McClain, and Coach Rick.
Well, that crew does a great job, not only keeping you up to date on what's going on, like Sam Howell's big day, those career highs, 362 and 4 touchdowns, but also it gets weird, man. It gets weird on ACC, all ACC late night.
Yes, it does. That's a run of about 5 on first down for Michael Carter, who has carried the ball 16 times today for 58 yards. But he has also caught 2 balls for 36 yards.
This is the point of the game where North Carolina's offensive line simply has to take over. They outweigh Georgia Tech's defensive line by an average of 40 pounds per player. This late in the game, as many plays as North Carolina has run, it'll be huge for them to just simply lean on them and get yards on the ground.
Yep. Here is Carter. First down run beyond the 40 to the 41. David Curry, a part of the tackle. He's been on a ton of those today for Georgia Tech.
Certainly have. This is the 85th play for North Carolina. You see that hole opened up. David Curry, he has been all over the field. In terms of leadership, he obviously has been fantastic, but you can see the development and these guys getting more comfortable in this new defense that Coach Jeff Collins, defensive coordinator Andrew Thacker have brought. David Curry, a guy that has flourished since this thing was instituted.
First and 10. Carter again. Charlie Thomas, a big-time play in the open space. They take Carter down behind the line.
Michael Carter had a choice to make. As a running back, right about here, you got to decide whether you're going to cut it upfield and challenge the linebacker or whether you're going to make it a foot race. Carter decides to try and make it a foot race, and Charlie Thomas has the speed as a guy who's played some of the Georgia Tech secondary in the past. He's got the speed to be able to get out in the alley and bring down the talented and shifty Michael Carter.
Yep. So a loss of 3. North Carolina running the play clock all the way down. Howell going to throw it out of bounds over the top of Michael Carter. It'll be 3rd down. And this is the kind of thing that Mac Brown was talking about last night. The ability with Phil Longo to change gears, to run a lot of tempo, 50 plays in the first half? And now here in the 4th, up 16 points with 7 minutes to go, you can kind of downshift.
And this is what they did last week against Clemson. It was a more check with me to the sideline offense. It was a slower offense. Here on a 3rd and long, you want to make sure you get the right call. A lot of guys hanging around the line of scrimmage for Georgia Tech.
Yep. Georgia Tech going to bring some pressure. Howell going to throw. Here is Newsome turning upfield, and he will have the first down to the 48-yard line. 14-yard play on 3rd and 13 to Daz Newsome.
Well, when you have that many guys, you got to think pressure's coming, and Newsome has run this route a couple of times, just a little whip route where he goes in, comes back out, gets in space. Nice little moves out there in the open field to hesitate the defender and is able to get the first down.
A little Roddy Jones dead leg on him there, didn't he?
Well, you know, he's got to learn it from somewhere. He's
shaking it down.
I'm trying to. If I did the dead leg now, I would be dead.
Those 3rd and long conversions. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off and you talking about your special moves, Roddy. But those 3rd and long conversions this game, to me, has probably been the biggest difference in this game.
Carter, maybe a yard, maybe not.
So many drives have been extended on 3rd downs over 10 yards, a percentage that is so low in college football. But on the day, you have seen Sam Howell and his receivers make so many plays through the air, extending drives, and at that point, they've really been able to wear Georgia Tech down.
Eric, you're right, and coming into this game, North Carolina was only 23.1% on 3rd and 7+. They are certainly higher than that here today. That's a great call by you. They have been really good on 3rd downs in general, especially 3rd and long.
You saw Lonnie Galloway, the wide receivers coach. Briefly, here is Javonte Williams, and that's another first down on 2nd and 10. Galloway, who grew up in Eaton, North Carolina, played in Western Carolina, Roddy, and coached in Louisville last year as one of the offensive coordinators. And Eric, you know this, he had guys he could work with that were Cardinals a year ago, and when that change occurred, he was more than happy to get a homecoming to come back to North Carolina. And he's got a fabulous group to work with at Chapel Hill.
Yeah, he had a talented group of receivers at Louisville, and he again does here. We've seen it on full display today.
That's Newsome in motion. Javonte Williams has got a career high today. He's at 103 yards, and he'll maybe add a half yard to it there as we go inside of 5 minutes to play. Well, interesting note to share with you guys today. Home teams were 6-5 in ACC play when the day started. Louisville beat Boston College by 2 at Cardinal Stadium. So 7-5. Virginia Tech leads Miami by 6 with 4 minutes to go, and Miami the ball. And Carolina leads here with 4.5 minutes to go by 16.
That Miami-Virginia Tech game, I would say that's the surprise of the weekend so far. Hendon Hooker gets the start for Virginia Tech at quarterback. And let me tell you, if they win this game, Ryan Willis may not get that ball back.
Javonte Williams may house this inside the 10 and brought down inside the 5. Saving tackle made by Zamari Walton. Boy, Javonte Williams has had a day.
Well, they called him their most complete back. He does a great job in pass protection, runs physically as you see him finishing the run there at the end, and then also has the speed to be able to make you pay. So he's the total package. And it's interesting, coming into this year, Mack Brown was obviously very complimentary of his entire running back group.
Right.
But Michael Carter was the headliner. Javonte Williams has slowly taken steps to be the guy in the backfield with a career high here today.
Play clock at 5. 1st and goal. They fumbled it, picked it up, handed it to Javonte Williams, who reroutes and scores. And with 3:24 to go, Javonte Williams gets his 3rd touchdown run of the year and his 1st today.
Like that's like a heat check in basketball. All right, let's see if we can mess up everything on the play and still score a touchdown. Javonte Williams makes a move, finds a crease, takes on a defender, falls in the end zone. He's pretty high. He's on fire today. That's what we would say if it was his NBA jam.
Yeah, he would.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Brian Anderson falls into a block on David Curry as he's laying on the ground, reaches his forearm up, and knocks Curry offline where he can't make the play.
Javonte wants to keep the 9 points. But wait, it gets better. They played 6 times as members of the ACC, and 4 of those games, they've combined for 70 or more. Of those 4, 3 have been 90 or more.
Jeez. Fireworks. Fireworks tonight.
So settle in at 8 o'clock.
It's going to feel like Pac-12 after dark with that many points scored.
And then all ACC after dark.
Yeah, exactly.
Follows them. The kick toward Dante Smith. Here's the freshman trying to find a seam and pushes it across the 30, and that's where Georgia Tech with 3:17 will get started. Well, I'd say Michael Carter's numbers might not be as statistically compelling as Javonte Williams, but I would stack up both as very effective.
And that doesn't include what Carter's done in the pass game, where he's done most of his damage with the screens and little balls out in the flat where he's been able to run after the catch. But Javonte Williams has been fantastic. And these two guys form one of the tandems in the ACC. When you're talking about running backs, there's Travis Etienne and Lynn J. Dixon up in Clemson, South Carolina. And after that, this group is in the conversation for best in the league.
Graham backing up, now going to slip out, and he can run. 1st down, 45, slides down at the 48. 17-yard run, and Georgia Tech hurries to the line here.
Honestly, I've been impressed by what I've seen from James Graham here today. His ability to rebound, yeah, he's missed a couple throws here and there, but I think Georgia Tech has found the quarterback.
Yeah.
I think it's James Graham's ball from here on. The question is, around him, how can they create enough pressure, how can they keep him from getting pressured enough for him to be able to make throws like that?
Tobias Oliver the catch, by the way. Now, Roddy, here's the tricky part for Jeff Collins and offensive coordinator Dave Patnode. You still got one of the best athletes in the ACC, and Tobias Oliver. You got to find a way to get him on the field and the ball to him.
Yeah, and just like we saw him in this game, I think there's a small wildcat package for him, as that ball is a little too far inside and almost picked off by Obi Egbuna.
Yep, Egbuna, the young freshman from Charlotte Christian.
But working in Tobias Oliver, I mean, it's not a hard sell to go to Tobias and say, hey, you're going to be an NFL player from a talent standpoint. Let's get you at a position where you can play there. And that's at receiver. So he's going to have his packages. He's going to have his ability to get the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up at running back at some point just to take some snaps as well.
Here goes Graham around the edge, and he'll get shoved out of bounds by Don Chapman. Jay Bateman, the defensive coordinator for Carolina, told us a fascinating story about Chapman last night, who you see shove Graham out of bounds. Don Chapman was kind of a late ad after Mack Brown got the job and Bateman was hired off Jeff Monken's Army staff. And Chapman was a guy that they had seen when he was recruiting for West Point. And he had family in the North Carolina area. And they called him up and said, "You interested?" Here's Amarian Brown in stride for the touchdown. And Chapman got beat there by the speedy freshman Brown.
Well, I tell you what, that's the type of throw that makes James Graham the guy at quarterback. He's able to roll out. There's pressure coming from the inside. And he's able to deliver an absolute dime on the run to Amarian Brown down the field. That's the throw that gets you excited about the young quarterback.
Yep. 5 plays, 68 yards in 99 seconds. And Amarian Brown, who had a touchdown catch on opening night at Clemson, in the end zone for a second time this year. So now with 1:45 to go, it's a 16-point Carolina lead. Pretty good looking pass.
Yeah, it was a nice pass, and just able to slip by the defender, Don Chapman. Chapman thought that Brown was going to stay outside, looked back at the quarterback. Brown slipped to the inside of him, was wide open down the sideline, and we saw it earlier on a 3rd down where James Graham got a little excited with an open Malachi Carter, throws that ball out of bounds. That's the development, being able to make that throw.
You know, it's interesting, we're talking about Chapman's recruiting. I mean, Jeff Collins shared with us, Amarian Brown was a guy who he recruited when he was the only coach in Atlanta.
Yep.
He was still waiting on other staffers to join him, either from Temple, who had a bowl game against Duke, Roddy, down in Shreveport, or guys who were coming in from other jobs. He said, "I single-handedly signed Amarian Brown."
And it's looking like it's a good get. He's a different kind of athlete, different kind of speed, and that's the type of guy that Jeff Collins wants in this team. You know, you look across at what Mack Brown has done here early as Georgia Tech's going to set up for the onside kick. And these two coaches were dealt different hands in terms of what they want to do and what they inherited.
They're going to try and dribble it along the ground, and they scramble for it at the 45. No ruling as to who has it yet. Carolina does. Brenton King kind of wobbled this along.
Pretty good job by Brenton King of just getting a slow roller. Oh, that's a fantastic play there by Daz Newsome. To be able to wait, pounce on it. There you go, jump on it.
He knew exactly where the line was, too.
And you want to get it right before it crosses that line, when you know it's going to, so the other team can't touch it. He does a really good job of going for it. Those guys on the onside kick team can't go for it until after it goes 10 yards. You go for it at 9.5, and you got the jump on it.
You got it. And Javonte Williams back to work. And timeout taken by Georgia Tech, and we get a quick check of the Coastal with 1:38 to play. Carolina, a win today would be 2-1 and 3-3. And a bye week before going to Blacksburg on the 19th of October, Roddy.
That trip to Blacksburg's looking a little differently depending on how that Virginia Tech-Miami game ends up.
Right.
Virginia Tech could be 0-3 in the Coastal, or it could be a one-win team in the Coastal. But I think if you were to ask Mack Brown before the year, Coach, after 6 games, you're 3-3. How are you feeling?
Right.
And he would have told you, great. With the schedule that they had, South Carolina, Miami, at Wake Forest, App State, Clemson, at Georgia Tech.
Right. 3
wins coming out of the first 6 is great. It's a really good job of managing the schedule. Now, going in the back half of the schedule, can you go 3-3? And I think there's enough there for this Carolina team to do that and potentially make a bowl game, which would be a huge jump for Mack Brown in his first year.
Well, and Eric, that's kind of where I was going to go with it, and we'll see. Because I asked him specifically last night, are you on schedule? And he said, if we win tomorrow in Atlanta, he goes, I think will be on schedule. I thought that was fascinating that a lot of it was incumbent upon this game for Carolina to feel like they were making progress as we look ahead to what they've got remaining after a bye week and then the 19th in Blacksburg.
Yeah, to your point, Wes, this is a game that they were favored in. This is a game they should win. And coming into this game, Mac talked about they had a tough week of practice. The energy, the effort wasn't there. They came off a very emotional loss to Clemson. Could they bounce back and not play down to an opponent, play up to an opponent against Clemson, and then drop their level of play? And as we've seen today, they missed on some opportunities early, especially down the field, but the effort consistently all day was high. And so that's your point on Mac Brown. The culture is getting closer to where he wants it. And he mentioned 3-3 is not a terrible spot to be in when you consider how tough their schedule is this year. Every one of their opponents this year made a bowl game in 2018.
They've run 95 plays today, and now we get a flag and procedure. So 96 will not be here with 91 seconds left.
False start. Offense number 56, 5-yard penalty, second down. Please reset the game clock for 156, please. Pardon me.
And you see Phil Longo go through the myriad of signals. And I asked him last night, Coach, what's with the band? He said, well, it's just easier to pick up. I used to wear a white band. It was hard to see, things like that. But the pink band, they kind of know what I'm doing, and they see it easier. And he said, I forgot it one day, and they reminded me, hey, Coach, where's that pink band?
Well, the great part of that story is the players kept saying they couldn't see the bands until he got a pink one on. And they were like, oh, yeah, Coach, we can see that one.
Eric, is there any chance the players could see the other ones, but they just wanted him to wear the pink one?
Yeah, I think they're having some fun with Phil on this one. Yeah, you would think maybe a highlighter green.
Yeah. No.
But he did say it was the breast cancer game, so he wore the pink. Well, then they did well, too. So
there you go.
Superstition in there.
There's a little bit of superstition in there as well.
Yeah. Hard to believe a coach would be superstitious, right, Roddy?
Exactly. He has done, I think he's done a fantastic job with this North Carolina offense, though.
And interesting, and you and I talked about this during the week, the conversion from what he did for Matt Luke at Ole Miss and now to come to Carolina. I mean, remember now, what, A.J. Brown, D.K. Metcalf, and guys like
Van
that.
Jefferson was on that team
last year, right?
Shea Patterson at quarterback. Well, Jordan Ta'amu last year, but absolutely.
Timeout will be 30 seconds.
So Carolina will take a 30-second timeout here. Well, career high today, 376 and 4 scores for Sam Howell.
He's got a guy there that's he's got a chance to be special.
Please reset the game.
By the way, Eric, he looks a little bit like Baker as well.
He does. He's only 18 years old, and he's got a better beard than me. I'm envious of it, but, you know, he does. And his footwork is absolutely incredible. We asked him, who is he going to model his game after? Because when you start as a true freshman, I started as a freshman at Louisville, you always have to find other guys that you want to watch film on to push yourself. And he said his favorite is Drew Brees. And Sam Howell, 6'1", Drew Brees, right around that same height. That's a great guy for him to model because he's going to have to do similar things as Drew Brees in the pocket.
Georgia Tech brought the house, and Kiernan will kick it, and the Tar Heels will touch it up at about the 24 with 36 seconds left. And Georgia Tech will load it up for Duke next week. And the Blue Devils play Pitt tonight, so back-to-back. In fact, you look at Georgia Tech's schedule, they jump right into this, guys. And I don't know if you saw this in looking earlier in the week. 6 straight games in the Coastal, Roddy.
Yes, sir. Right before that NC State game, 6 straight. So it gets real. And Georgia Tech obviously is going to be an underdog in every single one of those games on the rest of the schedule. The question is, can you start to get some of those things going for you, like the turnovers? Can you get James Graham comfortable so he can make throws like that consistently?
Right.
And then you got to manufacture a run game at some point. You got to be able to fall back on that. So I think what Coach Collins, and he told us this, what he's focused on is them getting better every week. And you saw a step there today from his quarterback, taking a step at being better than he was a week ago, because he has been.
31 seconds left. Graham in here cutting it loose. Middle of the field and batted away and intercepted. Tar Heels are going to intercept it with DJ Ford. Junior from Ashland, Alabama, is going to put a bow on a Carolina win here in Atlanta. And just their second win in Atlanta against Georgia Tech since Mack Brown won here on Halloween night in 1997.
Dave Patno talked to us about these, what he calls closed middle throws, where you have a safety in the middle of the field, which closes it off, the ability to go deep down the middle. It's the second time today North Carolina's gotten him. The first interception was the same thing. Free safety being able to make a play, picking it off. Had one against Temple as well last week. That's what you get with a young quarterback. Occasionally you don't check that middle safety. You check off everything else, leave one thing off the checklist, throw the ball, and it ends up in the other team's hands.
So the Tar Heels are going to go to 3-3, 2-1 in the ACC. And Georgia Tech will fall to 1-4, and they will be 0-2 in conference play.
And listen, there's enough there for North Carolina where Mack Brown's going to go back and say, guys, we did not play well today.
Right.
When you look at the drop passes, when you look at some of the mistakes in terms of penalties, there's a lot to clean up, but there's a ton to be excited about for North Carolina fans. I mean, the skill position alone is going to have you in every single football game, and number 7 at quarterback is a guy that can deliver. Let's go.